everyone. We are back with another Live with Sandra V and
Can be
show. It's been a long time, and I have to say, I've really missed being on here. I've really missed all of you, and glad that you were here. And we have some great guests with us tonight. And before I introduce them, I just want to remind you all that, well, I guess I better say why we've not been around for a while before we go into all that.
We don't want to get into that.
Oh, why not?
I've healed up nicely and stuff.
No, I think most of you already know that we have been going through a remodel, and as any other remodel, or just about all any remodels that we've ever been through anyway.
We're talking about the studio,
Oh.
not the facelifts or anything.
Oh my God. Anyway, the dust is still kind of settling, and we didn't want to bring out the equipment until it's settled. We're not 110% yet, but hopefully by the first of the year we will. And if this is your first time coming, then let us know, and we hope that we will see you when we do start back on a regular basis, Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Eastern Daylight Time. What do you say? Eastern what? Eastern Time? Whatever. Anyway, our goal here is to educate, inspire, and promote others in the industry who share our same vision. And the guests that we have tonight absolutely do that. I just want to say that we are going to be kind of fast-paced tonight. We've got 3 topics that the folks from Safety Shades are going to discuss. I have my friend Veronica Van Gelder over here in the background, and she is going to filter questions. So please type in any questions that you all may have. We will stop from time to time, and she will shout them out, and we'll get answers for you. Okay. What else? Any other housekeeping things before we get started?
No, she finally got a hold of a good contractor. The first guy was a ghost, and that was the reason for the long delay, because it was supposed to have been done in August. But the other guy, he's already working 80 hours a week, so he's only been doing it about 6 or 8 hours a week.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
only as much energy as he has still remain on his feet.
Yeah, well, we wish that you all could see this. If you're ever in town, come visit us, and we'll show you his handiwork.
I'm calling it the YouTube studio, and she's calling it the Live with Sandra V studio.
That's right. So maybe we'll section it off for you. Whatever. Okay. All right. We're gonna get started here tonight. We have a lot of ground to cover. So I'm going to introduce our guest. Come on out. We'll just slide over this way. And I think you all have met these folks before. Maybe you've met them out there in conferences. Maybe you've called them and talked to them over the phone. But this is your 3rd time visiting us.
I know.
And we like it.
Okay.
And by the way, this studio should be called Hollywood, is what it should be called. So let me tell you, it should absolutely be called Hollywood. You know.
Well, we have Will. Can I say Will? Do I say William Lynch?
Call me anything but late for dinner. Will, yes.
Will Lynch, President and CEO of Safety Shade, and of course Jacquelyn Weber, who is the VP of Sales and Marketing. Right, so we are so glad to have them here. And you all have 3 topics to discuss with us tonight, right?
Correct. We are going to talk about 3 things. The first 2 are new products that we are offering starting December the 1st. Everything's online for purchase now, or you can always call us and order over the phone. We have a 2-inch completely cordless faux wood blind. We have also the CordlessPRO, which I know you guys have been seeing a lot on social media about, which is the wideband lift sheet system. We've given it a huge facelift. We're very excited to tell you about that. And Mr. Lynch here is going to be talking about the new standards, the 2018 WCMA safety standards that go into effect on December 15th, which is actually
Very important date to know.
next week, I think. So
coming up soon.
yeah, we have I know there'll be a lot of questions about that. We've already had a lot of questions just calling into the office about it. So we're very excited to talk to you about all of that. So we have a lot to talk about tonight.
Well, let's cover.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to scoot out because you're going to start?
I am.
Okay.
Well, we both are. We're both starting then. Yeah, we're going to talk about this cool, awesome 2-inch faux wood.
Okay, well,
completely cordless blind.
Should we scoot out of her way?
I'm going to show this over here first.
Okay,
on
well, I'm
the
going to
window.
scoot over.
And Will's going to show the hand sample.
Okay.
You need the camera controls?
Yep, I need
Okay.
the control. So if you can hand me I'll come around there. We'll get this down.
Okay.
Well, I can punch buttons.
I'll handle that. I'll handle that, Will.
Don't let him anywhere near a remote. Okay?
He's just
You guys
gonna
remember
have he's just gonna have the Zoom going in on him.
Right. That's exactly right. Okay, so the first thing we want to tell you guys about is our 2-inch wave contour is the name of it. Completely cordless blind. And if you look over, Miss Sandra has one displayed here on her window. And as you can see, it has no tilt cord or wand and no lift lower. And you're like, well, how the heck do you work it? Well, the cool thing about this system is everything lifts and lowers and tilts by the bottom rail. So you're going to lift, you're going to lower, and then when you get it to where you want it, you tilt it. And it's all spring-loaded in the head rail. As you can see, there's no clip-on balance. Everything is very clean lines. You don't have to worry about the clips breaking on your balance. The install, Kim can tell you, he's installed several of these. Very fast install, very easy to install, and super easy to operate. And we've had this out on the market now for quite some time, but we want to offer it, obviously, to our workrooms. So Will's going to talk a little bit more about the features of the blind, and then I'm going to talk about how you can use this in your workrooms.
The reason we got into it was because our mission had originally and forever and continues to be the elimination of infant strangulation due to cords. And what we found was we weren't being fast enough at it. We were trying like crazy to be faster with everything, to get more cords out of windows. And what we found was that about 20% of all window coverings are 2-inch faux wood. And in there, a lot of people who are in that business are not doing anything about getting rid of cords. And so we scoured the earth and found a product that we could in fact enhance and then get rid of a tilt wand on it and have a patented program that is exclusively for safety shade. And we have sold hundreds of thousands of these already because of their features. The little bitty hand sample of the wave contour. And the reason we're talking to you about this is what Jacquelyn's going to talk about is how this fits into what you do right now and what your designers want to do to be able to cover more windows and do it with no cords. So you can see that there are no tilt wand, no cord. And it, again, just to show how it operates, it just pulls down, a slight increase in the bottom rail opens it, a slight larger increase closes it, and down, up, down, close. And there's the beauty of it is there is, on the blade thickness, there is half the thickness. And the reason it's called wave contour is because you can see the wave shape of the blade. And what that does is it shows exactly how to have a very stiff, still blade, but half the thickness. That means that when you look through it, you have double the vision through it, and when it goes up, you have half the stack right there. And what Jacquelyn was talking about is it's got a built-in head rail, and the valance is right there. And so when it comes to installation, it could be on something this small, or 3 feet or so. It's 3 clips, 9 screws, and snap in, and it's done. You could an entire house of let's say 10 or 12 of these can be installed in 1 hour. It's that fast, and it comes in soft white. The reason is 86% of all blinds are soft white, and there are many, many, many things this can do to enhance what you're doing right now. So we offer you that, and you can talk about what else it can do.
Okay, we for workrooms, we're offering actually, you can go online and you can order all the components that we offer and all those safe lift systems that we offer. This is now on our website as well. You can go on and look at the blind. There's just a lot of features to it that is there's a UV inhibitor in it, so it's guaranteed not to yellow, crack, break, chip.
Won't chip.
We had a lady call us, and she had 2 Rottweilers, and she said, I need a blind. I've had the other type of faux wood, and every time they put their head through it, my blinds, they bend, and then I can't get them back. And I said, well, I tell you what, we'll give you a couple of these to try, and if your Rottweilers break it, we'll refund your money. Well, we haven't heard from her, so we're thinking maybe her Rottweilers may put their head through it, and nothing's happened, because I think she would probably take me up on it. But for workrooms, and we do have a distributorship program. If this is something that you want to distribute along with your other products that you distribute in your workroom, this is something that I think would be a great addition to what you can sell. A lot of people, when you go in, they want privacy, but when you start telling them, okay, you need 2 widths of fabric on either side to pull shut for this privacy, they kind of are like, oh gosh, that's really expensive. So you could actually do, a width or a width and a half of fabric just for the aesthetics of it, and then sell them this for the open and close for their privacy. Or, a valance closes is very easy. It covers it. If you want to open your blind all the way, there's not a large stack on it, so you can open it up, have your faux Roman at the top, or a cute little cornice or valance. And then at night, they can just pull it down for privacy, and they're going to be saving, quite a bit of money on, a typical blind that they would, get custom, I guess. I mean, this would be a good addition to your custom-made products. So there is some sizing. The maximum width of this is 72 inches, and the maximum length is 72 inches. And then the smallest size you can get is a 12-inch. We can cut that down to about 11 inches. And the smallest width is 24, and we can shorten that to probably about 20. Because of the spring-loaded head rail, we do all the modifications. Everything ships out of North Carolina. We have a really fast turnaround time, so if you need to get somebody, if they're in a new house and you want something to cover their windows and then sell them window treatments 2 weeks down the road after they get moved in, this is a really good option.
And we can handle the volume because we right now are shipping already between 500 and 1,000 a day. And this is the reason for the acceptance on this, and the reason that it has grown so rapidly, and I do mean rapidly. We are up about 95% over last year, and last year was an awesome year. And actually in October, we were up 134% over. And we expect to double or triple again next year. And the reason for that is that not only is this 86% of all purchases this color, not only that, but also it's cordless. And what you're going to hear at the end of our presentations this evening to help you out are the safety regs. And the safety regs go into effect on the 15th, December 15th. And with that, all stock product, and this is a stock item, all stock product has to be cordless. And therefore, you have that. Now, when you look at this product versus all others, and one of the reasons that you should be interested in it to enhance what you're doing already, if you do any of this, is that we are probably easily 25% lower priced than anybody else. And we don't have callbacks on this. We don't have complaints on this. We have great customer service and great productivity. So, I mean, this is one of those things where it would enhance what you're doing and enhance what you're doing for each window. And I look forward to getting any questions you may have.
Okay. I want to step back in.
Sure.
And I think it's a really great product. And, I know Ken has sold some in his business. So this is not just for workrooms. It's also for designers and installers.
True.
And, to sell. And it's a great add-on. And the best part for me, we don't have to make it.
You don't
We
have
can
to do
sell
that.
it.
You don't have to think.
That's
This is
exactly
a
right.
measure, buy, sell.
Yep. I want Jacquelyn to show a couple more things with it that I think are features that maybe clients might like. And while we're doing that, if you all would go ahead and share this out, we're going to be saving the cord safety regulations to the end because we want people to. Some people forget to come to the show or they run late. So we're going to save that to the end. But go ahead and type in your questions that you might have on the shade. And I'm going to have Jacquelyn show us one more thing. And then we'll answer some questions. So Jacquelyn, if you would push that one all the way up so that they can see that how the stack is. So you see it really.
It's pretty tight up there, as far as the stack goes. I mean, normally a regular, would be way down here because the blades are double thick, so it would be double the stack.
Yeah.
So,
stop right there.
And if I
Yes,
could,
there. That's what I wanted to show.
and Jacquelyn, if I could, notice that she could actually lift it, because most 2-inch faux woods you cannot lift. It takes 2 hands with cords right now. The cords are gone, and what's out there is going to have to go cordless, and that means that it's going to be very difficult for somebody to lift one that has the old-fashioned thicker blades and the crack. Okay, these are very resilient. These bend.
Yeah. And the sun, we've had this in windows in Arizona and, all the hot places of the world. And it's great. We have very little callbacks with anything. Most of the time they've measured wrong. We have to replace it just because it's like, we call that an oops when they measure wrong. So, anyway, we really love the blind. It's something that you can just have one more thing to add when your designers come, or just customers that you have. This is something that you can offer them that's a reasonably priced at a very reasonable price point, and then you can also upsell your beautiful custom work to go with it.
Okay. Any questions, Ronica?
What did you say the lead time is for this?
We're shipping right now in 3 days.
Oh wow!
Don't expect that.
Yeah.
We target 5. We do, but we're targeting 5 days.
Yeah, we say 5 to 7.
But we really are shipping in 3.
We really are shipping in 3. No joke. I'm totally serious about that.
Out of
We've got it.
Carolina.
After today, you may not be. So you better
No guarantee for 3.
Any other questions?
Give us the challenge.
And by the way, anybody who's doing commercial jobs like apartment buildings, condos, something like that, or new homes, we are right now doing a job with between 450, 500 windows right now, and we have no problem shipping those. We have no problem getting those out.
Right.
We've done a lot. We have done a healthcare center. We've done a
Lots of schools.
Google headquarters. We've done a lot of schools, a lot of elementary, middle schools. This is ideal for commercial purposes too. So in addition to residential, it's good for commercial.
Great.
And big jobs.
Right.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, hello everybody. I can't see your name on the screen. Anybody out there saying hello? We'll give them a shout out.
Oh, we've got lots of people.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Hi,
Welcome.
everybody.
Tammy Granger, David Pitts, Sharon Gizzy, Leisha Shutt,
Yeah.
Right.
Haley.
Amanda Smith,
Hi, Amanda.
Kim Shagnon, Jenny Caden, Janice Lent, Donna Cash, Mary Fraden, Kathy Cuddington, Julie Gould, Margot Powell, Julie Coleman, Karen Barnes, Ruth Zeller,
Nice.
Okay.
Melanie Henry, Nancy Letts, Joanne Weber,
Yeah, Joey.
sorry, Joanne, Sharon Ashton. I'm sorry,
Hi, Sharon.
Well,
Fred
hello
Shaw
everybody.
something. Bonnie, Katarina, Scott Robbins, and Jess Page.
Okay.
So,
Hello,
hello,
everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for being here.
No, I wasn't nervous. Yeah, I wasn't nervous before.
Everybody stand up
Okay.
again.
All right. Well, we want to stay on target.
Yep.
And so, Jacquelyn, you are now going to show us the. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to step out and you can explain
CordlessPRO.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to do a little background on the CordlessPRO professional wideband lift sheet system. And this is near and dear to our hearts, of course. I know you all, or most of you, have heard of Bill Vestal. He was one of the original founders of Safety Shade. This was his very first invention in 2010. And so this system has been around for a very long time. And in my opinion, I might be a little biased, but this is the best lift sheet system on the market. And now we've given it a tremendous facelift. We've given it some new springs. We've breathed new life into the head rail. Everything's adjustable now. Everything's controllable. And I think that's just very cool for a workroom. That's kind of what we all want, is to control. When our customer comes up and pulls it down and just lets it go, we're like, oh, well, this you don't have to be worried about, because this is a controlled system that we're going to sell 2 different kinds of springs. So first of all, I'm going to give you a little spec on it, and then Sandra made this beautiful shade literally today, I guess, or yesterday. And we have it with the spring-loaded system, but then I'm going to show you this one, and I'm actually kind of taking it apart, because I know everybody always wants to see back in there how it's put together. So we're going to show you one taken apart and one together. So one more thing about Bill Vestal. This, like I said, this was his original invention. He had a vision to get cords out of windows to keep windows safe, not only for children, but just for everybody, for pets, for everything. So for us for this still to be selling as much as it does, I just think that is such a good sort of testament to how great his inventions were. He also invented the ring locks, to just give you how kind of inventive mind that he had. I unfortunately was able to meet him, but I've heard just such wonderful things about him. I'm sad that I didn't get to meet him. But okay, so back to the system. We've given it a big facelift. We are now going to be offering the 10% openness, which is this solar shade. It's like a very stiff fabric. They literally make roller shades out of this as well. And then we're going to be offering the same type of solar shade, but in a 100% blackout. So I know everyone is always very concerned about the pinholes of light. This blackout fabric, you're not going to have to worry about that anymore, because not only do you not sew as many rings, you don't have to put the J-guide through to the front at all, because that's just holding the J-guide and the batten in place. And then now you're going to have a blackout over top of it. So if you're concerned about pinholes of light and you don't want to do all these different methods to get rid of them, this is a system that is not only cordless, but it's going to eliminate those pinholes of light. It gives you a very, very clean look on the back. There's no quartz, so you don't have to keep you don't have to stay 8 inches apart. You can do 10, you can do 12, you can do however much, because there's no cords back there to make a dangerous loop, so you don't have to worry about your spacing. It is obviously certified best for kids. That's one thing we did forget to tell you about the blind. It's certified best for kids too, from the WCMA. With this, you have complete control of the tension even after it's installed. If you get to your customer's house and they want it to raise a little faster or a little slower, you can adjust the tension on this little wheel over here. And I'm going to show you this bracket in just a second. And you can adjust the stop on this side. So once you get it set to where you want it to be, all you do is adjust this and keep twisting it until it stops, and your shade will stop in the exact same place every single time it's lifted. So let's see. Let me tell you what's in the kit. We're going to have 3-foot, 4-foot, and 6-foot kits. They're going to be medium. The medium spring lifts up to 15 pounds. The large spring lifts up to 20. And for a spring-loaded system, that's a lot. I know most springs, the most I've ever seen on any system that we used to carry is about 14 to 15 pounds. So to be able to go all the way up to 20 on your larger shades is, I think, a big plus. You're going to get the tube. You're going to get a 1.5-inch tube. It's notched on the inside, and I'll show you, how your spring fits in there. I brought a medium spring today. It's got like a little nodule right here. You're going to make sure that nodule goes into that notched area so it doesn't, go crazy in there. It stays very stable. And you've got the stop on the other side, which goes in, the other end of your tube. The spring goes in this end of your tube. The stop goes in that end of your tube. And then you have 2 brackets. You're going to have your J guides, which I'm going to move this over so you can see it back of this. I need to start eating my Wheaties. Okay. Okay, so the lift sheet's going to come in your kit, and you're going to have powder-coated battens right here. You're going to have these J guides right here, and we're going to give you rings. You're going to have just a few rings, like for a 3-foot kit, for instance, you're only going to get 6 rings because that's all you have to sew on. And you're going to sew your ring on sideways to act as just a little guide. I don't know if you can see that. To act as a little guide for the batten to go through. And then you'll sew your J guides on 1 inch in from the side of your shade, and then you're going to put your batten in there. So every time you lift and lower, you don't have to worry about the sides getting all jiggy, you know, because the batten's going to keep everything nice and straight, and all of that's included in your kit. Oh, and your acrylic rods that go in the bottom of this right here, which I took one of them out to just be able to take this apart. So these are what I'm talking about. You can put any distance apart. You can put them 8, 10, 12, you know, we used to do, I thought a 10-inch apart was always just such a beautiful fold. So we give you enough to do a 10-inch apart, and we give you enough for a 72-inch long lift sheet. So if you need more than that, if you're doing a really long shade and you need a little bit more callus, and we can make sure that you have enough in there for your whole shade. And I think that's everything that comes in it. Of course, the amount of components that you receive and the width obviously is going to depend on the size of your shade and the size of your, the width of your tube. So I do have a little bit of information. The minimum tube width, so the minimum size of your shade that you can do for this medium spring is like almost 35 inches. So your the tube is going to be 32.5 inches for that size shade. The reason why is because you need room for your brackets, your ends, and room to put your tube, your spring on one side and your tube in the other. This medium spring can be cut down to make a more narrow shade, but I am, after looking at it and experimenting with it a little bit, I would not cut this down more than about 2.5 inches. We have directions on how to do that. If you have like a shade that you want to do that's about 30 inches, you could cut this down to fit in a 30 inch. We do have the capability, if you want to special order, if you have a much smaller shade and you want a small spring in there, we can get that small spring, but that small spring only lifts 6 pounds. And that's not really a lot for a Roman shade with as much stuff as we put in it. We always like to put, lining and maybe flannel in there, or inner lining or something, if that's what you want. And then the large spring, you have to have about a 39-inch wide shade with about 36 3/4 inch tube. So, for a 3-foot, 4-foot, 6-foot kit, these are fantastic. If you have a smaller thing that you want to do, just call us and we can accommodate that. These cannot be reverse mounted. We've tried every way in America to reverse mount these. There's just no way to take this lift sheet through to the other side to actually put a balance on it. So if anybody out there, Scott Robbins, can come up with anything, please let us know, because we've tried, to think of a million different ways that you could reverse mount these. These are on a 2-inch projection, and I know we've been asked so many times about reverse mounting. Does anybody have any questions about it? Oh, I haven't even shown you how it operates. So crazy. Okay, so Miss Sandra made this beautiful shade, and ta-da! Isn't that cool? You can just let it go, and it goes up and stops at the same spot every time. So, isn't that pretty? She just does such a pretty work. Oh, while we're talking about that, can you see the sides of this little Miss Chris over here? Look at this. She has actually integrated the tab for the sides into her shade. I looked at that today. I'm like, oh my gosh, how the heck did you do that? She goes, "Now take my class and you'll be able to know." So she has classes coming up. If you guys want to know little Miss Spiffy Poo how to do, your tab that's already integrated in your shade. I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
I'm gonna step back in here with.
So anyway, that's about it. I mean, if you guys have any questions, I will attempt at answering them. This is a much, I think, easier system. Once you get, the brackets are the same. We have good instructions, I hope, online. I've kind of helped a little bit with the instructions. So we tried to make them a little more user-friendly for workrooms. They're not so technical. Sandra is going to help me a little bit with that. She read over everything today, and she has a few suggestions. And of course, we'll if anybody has any suggestions about anything, we're open to all of that because you guys are all professionals, and we love hearing your ideas because you come up with some great ones.
Yeah. I want to give thank you for it, but I want to give a shout out to Greenhouse Fabric too because I won this fabric.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
I saw that, but I didn't know that was it. This
Yeah.
is beautiful.
And
Yeah.
it is, anybody wants to know, it's Greenhouse, and it is F132 Pacific, I think is the name of it.
Oh.
And just to let everybody know too, because sometimes we forget to put the links in. I did put another post out there today on Live with Sandra V, and it actually has a link for Safety Shade. It has a link for Greenhouse Fabrics, and it has also my links too, because you're right, thank you for that. I will be giving room and shade classes. I have one coming up February 21 through 23rd, and then the room and shade, the next level up, which I will be teaching that in there on March 21 to 23rd. If you'd like to know, my website's out there. And I'll also be at the IWCE for any of you who's going to be there, talking about headrail systems as well. So, yes, I know I have a special method that I use for my shades anyway, so I wasn't sure how to integrate that into there. And I was under pressure yesterday to get this done. I said, I'm going to do it, and I did it, and it's fine. So,
It's awesome.
So thank
I was
you.
like, that is very, very cool. I think that's smart events. Yeah.
But let's go to the questions.
All right. First, Jacquelyn, could you demonstrate how it can stop, like midpoint, how smoothly it stops midpoint?
Well, what you can do, you can set your stop for it to stop midpoint. This one's actually, you can leave it to there and stop it.
Right.
But what we did is we set this one, we set the stop all the way at the top. So we can, if you get to your customer's house, you don't set the stop until you get there, and then you find out where your customer wants it. Then you put it to that stop, and then you can adjust it then. But you don't have to let it go all the way up. You can stop it anywhere you want.
So it's pretty easy to stop it.
Yeah, you just kind of pull down and pull up. Pull
Can you let
down.
it go? What happens if you let it go? You pull it. Does it
It
go back?
stops at the same spot when you pull it and let it go. Like a lot of people, I've seen customers do that, and it's almost like, ugh. But now you don't have to do that because, you're always afraid that something's going to, fly off there when they're so rough with it, because we're sort of gentle, I think, because we know how many hours it takes to make it all,
We even kids' room too. If you don't want the kids to come here and pop that thing and go whoop whoop whoop, you just set it.
So even if a kid comes in and does that, it'll stop at the same time every time, and you can adjust that. You can stop it halfway down, almost all the way up, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
And so what is the maximum width?
The maximum width that we're going to carry is 6 foot and 72 inches.
Okay.
And the reason why is because our battens are 72 inches. But it does say in the directions, say you have a 5 foot shade. I would go ahead and put the biggest spring that we have, which is the 20 pounder, in that 5 foot shade, because you're supposed to put basically the maximum size spring that you can fit in your tube. Even though we have, if your shade weighs 10 pounds and you don't want to put a 20 pound spring in it, as long as you can fit the medium spring in your tube, the medium spring works good. It lifts 15. Okay. And you can see all this online. We have the instructions online now, and you can look at it. And we do have a pre-rotation tool that you're going to purchase one time. It's sold separately, and then once you purchase that pre-rotation, you can purchase other kits. You don't ever have to purchase that again because it's just used to wind.
Great.
Is it hard to install, or do you have to use special brackets?
You don't have to use special brackets. These are the brackets that come with it. The only thing you're going to need is a extended drill bit, because you've got to get behind, you've got to get up, underneath Yeah, underneath that. So you can put your L bracket in, your installer can, we sort of drilled both of ours. You did yours sort of on an angle on one
Yes.
side. One side of the brackets go in just normally. You put it in there. You put your spring in there. The other side, you put your bracket on at the end. And then you're just going to drill in at an angle. And that's the same thing you're going to do with your L brackets.
Okay. Somebody's asking about seeing the back, but you've already shown the back, so
I can show you again.
basically, yeah.
Can you, Will's going to, do you see how those,
I'll pull it down here if you can.
It's okay.
Got it?
it's
Okay.
fine, yeah, just pull it right out. I'll put it back together.
Put it back together.
Yeah.
So you have the,
You have the battens.
I don't know if I can get into here with this.
There we go.
No, that doesn't help. That color's kind of dark, but I don't know if you can see the battens going across and the rods going here, and then the J
guide.
J guide.
Those battens go inside that J guide, and then you have, on a larger shade, you'll probably sew, 2 rows of rings sideways to just thread that through. The rings don't really take any weight or anything. They're just used basically as a guide for that batten to go through. And then what actually lowers and raises the shade is the very bottom batten. And there's 2 acrylic bars that go in there. I've got that one still in there. And you sew pockets in your lift sheet, and then that J guide sits right in the middle.
Let me turn this around. I won't whack you in the head.
Okay. Can you see that J guide? Literally, this one right here. Can you see? Oh, maybe this one right there. That one right there sits right dead center of that pocket in there. And that's what lifts and lowers. And you make it a little 5-inch tab, and that's what they pull on to raise and lower the shade. So,
And it was easy to assemble too, I have to say. Yeah.
I thought it was easy too. I think it's a lot easier than any other spring-loaded system that I've ever put together. We modified it a little bit to make it as easy as possible. And I think the modification, I know a lot of workrooms modify it the same way that we did. So it works really good.
We have a couple more quick questions.
Okay.
Because we only have a couple more minutes on this
Okay.
segment. You ship to Canada.
We do, we have several places up there that we do ship to. They use a broker that saves them a lot of money. If they have a broker, we can do it. Otherwise, we can work something out. Just have them call the office, and I'll do whatever I can to help. I've done a lot of things into Canada, but the broker thing seems to save the workroom a lot more money.
Okay. And can you give us any idea of cost range?
Everything's online. As far as the 6-foot kit is $179. Let me think. I think the 3-foot kit might be maybe $159, $149. You can go to safetyshade.com and look up CordlessPRO wideband lift sheet system, and all the pricing is on there. My brain is, I know the 6-foot is $179 though. I know that because I just sold several yesterday of the 6-foot, and I remember.
CordlessPRO.
Yeah, it's under CordlessPRO. That's our facelift name for our beautiful wideband lift sheet system, and we're very, very excited about this because of the control factor.
All right, one more question. You've gotten lots of kudos.
Oh, good.
One last question on this one is, what's the minimum projection?
2 inches, and the reason why is because this bracket's smaller, but the tube is 1.5. So for that to wind up on that, you really do need a 2-inch. Otherwise, you don't want the back of your tube here hitting your wall. That would not be good because that would impede it from lifting and lowering. So 2 inches. I'm sure there's somebody out there that can do it on a 1.5, but you need that space to keep that away from the wall.
Okay.
That extra 1/2 inch.
Any other questions, Veronica?
No, your class has been highly recommended, and
Okay.
lots of kudos on the system.
Okay, good.
Oh,
I
good.
think, and somebody is waiting to hear about the standards.
Okay, yes.
Okay,
yes.
good.
That is coming up next. But again, if you love what you've seen so far, give them a thumbs up because I
thank
love both of these products as well as your motorization too.
Oh, I know.
So-
Our motors are awesome too.
You know,
I mean,
so-
it's hard to choose. We just have so much good stuff.
I
I,
know.
love it. Anyway.
Okay. Well, we are going to. Well, I'm going to sit with you and then with you on this
Fine.
because if I have questions, I'm going to shout it out too.
Okay, I'm done. This is my I'll come back and then say goodbye. But thank you guys so much. If you have any questions on anything that we talked about today, call me at the office. I'll be more than happy to help you with whatever questions you have.
Yep.
And I'm going to turn it over to the pros.
Okay. Let's sit down on this one. Have a seat, Will.
Thank
You
you.
can have a seat.
By the way, Scott, I just want to make sure you know that shout out was because we know if anybody can do it, you can do it. So that's why the shout out for you. Jacquelyn, thank you.
Yes,
He's not
thank you,
here
Jack.
any longer. He had to leave.
Oh, and yeah, thank you. And just let you know, everyone, that this will be on replay, and I will be putting it out there on my YouTube channel too, so you can find it easy. And again, thank you, everybody. I will go back later and say hello to everybody. I got Veronica over here filtering everything for me, so shout out to her too. But thank you for being here, and don't forget, if I forget at the end, I will post when we come back on a regular basis. But it's on Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. So keep that in mind. Okay, Mr. Will, you're on.
This is incredibly important.
Yes.
Our new products, of course, are important, but our new products are here for the sake of servicing our mission, which is getting cords out of windows. And we are ecstatic with the new standards, and the reason we are is because they will get probably, I believe, 80 or 85% of all future window coverings cordless. So that's a good thing. When you consider our mission is to eliminate infant strangulation due to cords, this is a good thing. A couple key points, if I could. Go ahead. Sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
But I just before you get started, because what you do is very important. But I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think that I've been seeing a lot of questions out there. There were some folks that said, well, if I'm getting ready to move, should I take my shades down? Should I leave them up? What should I do? And people said, well, take them down, put them in the garage, and say if you want them, you can have them. But I think that as an industry as a whole, and you are going to address this too, is that we need to start thinking differently. Instead of cord safety, I really think it should be called life safety. The changes have come about because children have, and not just children, but even some disabled adults, I would say, or elderly have lost their life. So this is life safety. It is just not cord safety. And so think about that. And if you were a parent or even a relative of a child or someone who's lost their life or even injured, you would have a different mindset. If a client asks you to create something that doesn't fall within these standards, just say no, period. No.
Just say
no. But let's start
the
changing our mindset.
exposure. I got to tell you the exposure that gives you, and so for that,
Yeah.
I can if we have time at the end, and if you want to know, I can cite examples of who gets sued and how much they lose
Right. Yeah.
by doing something silly.
Right. Exactly. And you should, because it goes from realtors to homeowners to workrooms. So if you're a designer out there, let your realtors know and things too. So okay, I'll zip it and let you know.
No.
I just have to say that I feel passionate about this.
There is a reason for the safety standards.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for the safety standards is, as the CPSC reported some years ago, there were approximately 1,550 incidences of reported strangulation per year due to strangulation. They would result in some paralysis, some brain dead, and as many as 14 deaths per year because of cords on window coverings. And it's terrific that we all get to know about this. The strongest safety standards that you've been operating under came out in 2012. In 2012, some of the highlights of that safety standard, especially directed at Roman shades, is on the back of the Roman shade was to no longer just have loopable cords coming out where they would go from the head rail to the bottom rail through rings. And a child could put their hand in between the fabric and the cord, pull the cord out, put their head in there, and it was bad. In to fatal. And so what happened with the 2012 standards was, among other things, was how close to put your rings in from the outer edge, 2 inches in from the outer edge, to make sure there's no dangerous loopable cord there, which means that it can't get around a standard child's head. And so that's why everybody, I hope, knows that you want to keep your rings 8 inches apart, because from 8 inches apart, that cord comes out 8 inches, and the fabric goes out 8 inches. That's a circumference of 16 inches, and the average child's head is, I think, about 17 and a half. So the head could not go in it. And the test for that was, if you're using right now shroud, ladder, or we hope, of course, ring locks, what happens is you'll have your rings 8 inches apart or less, and the cord will not come out further than that, and the fabric won't go further than that because the ring is tacked there, and it's a 16-inch circumference. What's unfortunate about that is that we still hear to this day, 6 years later, of people still putting their cords through rings and saying, "Not my problem." Look, it is his problem, and I'll come back to what that actually means about that. The biggest thing of which, of course, is all you got to do is talk to one parent who's lost a child. That's all you got to do, and you will know exactly why you want to comply with the 2012 standards. In addition to that, there was a plethora of warning labels put on the product back then. I'm aware of a lot of warning labels out of the 2012, and they were, and you know it as well as anybody. Also, every continuous speed cord loop had to have a tension device or a tie-down device. There had to be cleats. There are all kinds of things for operating cords, as well as the lift cords in the back of Romans and so forth. But and a lot of people went half a step further and started getting rid of tilt cords on 1-inch minis and 2-inch wood and 2-inch faux, and so on, to try to get rid of those cords. So there was a little bit of innovation coming from that. In the 2018 December 15th standard, it was passed a year ago, and by the way, yes, I brought it, and yes, it's thick, and yes, it looks like this, and yes, I'm going to summarize it in 8 points, 8 headline points, or subhead points. And I want to make sure you know that when the questions come out, I have the standard, I have a summarized version of the standard, and I have these impeccable notes on this standard. And so what I'd like to make sure, though, rule number 1, they take effect December 15th of this year. This came out January 9th, was approved. It was preliminarily approved a year and a half ago. And effective December 9th, they said January 9th of this year. The deadline is December 15th of this year. What that means is that any product manufactured on December 15th or later must comply with these standards. Whether you agree or don't agree with the safety of why these standards are there, compliance is mandatory. This is not voluntary, even though some people talk about their voluntary standards. What that means is it only confuses everybody. Voluntary standards means the industry can, in fact, have the authority granted to them by the Consumer Product Safety Commission as an industry to voluntarily write your own safety standards. And if they are approved by the Consumer Product Safety Commission, you get to proceed. The only thing voluntary there is the industry gets to write the standards. Other things like drop-side cribs, the industry didn't do anything on that, and the CPSC took it over, and it was no longer voluntary. They dictated what it is. And we had a question earlier from, do we ship to Canada? At the very end, remind me to tell you what Health Canada is about to do, which is far, far, far stricter in the world of cordless. And it looks like it's going to proceed. I certainly hope so. But in the U.S., 8 primary headlines. First off, December 15th. Please note, everything after December 15th, so anything you do after December 15th must comply with these programs.
Now, let me ask you a real quick question on this too. Should we say that I produced a shade September 1st, and it went out, and there was an issue with it, and I have to go and bring it back and say, oh, or maybe something that was done. Okay, I have complied so far.
That's right.
I say something from 4 years ago, and it wasn't 100%, and I have to go back and I've repaired it or brought it back in for whatever reason. We have to make sure that it's up to standards before it goes back out.
Ethically, I hope you do.
Well, yes,
Ethically,
it will,
I hope you do.
Yeah.
It is a minor gray area,
Okay.
but when was the original order? When was the original manufacturer? I'm going to show you on point 8, as a matter of fact, there are new manufacturing labels that you're going to want to have on every product.
Okay.
So I hope ethically you will bring it up to standard.
Yeah.
Okay, for this.
Okay.
And it's not that much. It's not that much. But what you're looking for is, what does it mean for custom products? Because that's what you make when you make your Romans and your panels and everything else. You want to know what's custom. The new standards separate custom from stock. The definition of custom I will save in a moment because it is as simple as possible and borderline humorous. A stock product is pre-made regardless of post-production alteration. Let me repeat that. If the product is pre-made, 1-inch most of 1-inch minis, 2-inch wood, 2-inch faux wood, just like what we showed you, a lot of rollers, a lot of wovens are pre-made, predominantly imported, either from China, Mexico, or Texas. Mexico or China, not imported from Texas.
I didn't catch that.
Sorry, I was just trying to slip that one in on you.
Yeah, I was saying you were awake, right?
Or if it's imported from New Jersey or something.
That's right.
No, but
Okay.
but the definition
Give 'em a
is,
thumbs up.
if the product is pre-made, this product right here is pre-made. It has to be cordless. That's what's going to happen. That's what you're going to hear in point number 2, the operating system of a stock product. I will get to that in a second. But if it's a custom product, it's not pre-made. And the definition of a custom product, I am not kidding, is not stock product. That's how it's written.
Simple.
Simple. And most of the product you do is stock, it is custom product. Okay? So let me talk about the operating system regarding cords, etc. for stock product first, so you can see what is the restriction of stock product. The restrictions on stock product are, they can have 3 operating systems, lift systems. 1, cordless. That's our wave contour product. 2, short cord lift system. I'll define that in a second. Or 3, inaccessible cord. And the inaccessible cord, you know as an implementation, special safety requirements or standards have been given for this. It is called, in the industry, a rigid shroud. You, of course, know it, I'm happy to say, as a fashion wand. We literally had standards written for the fashion wand, which has, like this one has an ADA compliant handle, to pull down. There is a continuous speed cord loop inside. This clutch turns. I don't know if you can see it. Let me try to turn it this way. Okay. So anyway, that is a rigid shroud, or said another way, it provides an inaccessible cord. Those are the 3 systems for stock product. Cordless, no operating cord, no exposed cord, no anything, or no tilt cords to tilt the blades in 1-inch minis, 1-inch, 2-inch wood, 2-inch faux. Cords are gone. Or a short cord. A short cord is 40% of the height of a blind or shade. This pertains to what you do. A 40% ratio. If it is a 60-inch drop, and it's when it's fully dropped, the short cord can extend to 40% of that, or 24 inches. Okay? 40% of 60 inches. So you're at 24 inches. That's what you get on a short cord for stock product. it's what you're also going to get for custom. On custom product, well, I should mention, because those stock products have no cords, no accessible cords or short cords, because of that, stock product will no longer require any warning label at all. On custom product, there are actually a couple more options. One is make it cordless. Please do that. This is cordless. This has no cords, no exposed cords, no loopable cords. Yes? I thought we were getting a question. Sorry. Okay, thank you. I only have 49 minutes left. Sorry. Custom product, cordless. Please do that. Which, by the way, again, because it's cordless, that means that the folds can be 12 inches if you want them.
Yeah.
Because that would open to, in this case, 24, but there's no cord there. There's nothing to strangle on. Short cord, again, the ratio is 40% of the fold drop for exposed cords.
Like a cord lock.
Like a cord lock system. Like a cord lock system.
Yeah, something come out of the cord.
Yep.
lock.
Inaccessible cords, fashion wand, rigid shroud, or our fashion wand, or a single retractable cord is available and can be done, or on a continuous loop, continuous beaded cord loop, as long as it comes with a tension device. It has to have a tension device. Must have a tension device if it's a continuous beaded cord loop. Or it can have a rigid shroud. So the rigid shroud again, our fashion wand. Another, by the way, another Bill Vestal invention, I'm happy to say. There is one special exception, and it is for a special individual, and that is an individual who cannot operate a cordless program. If they can't operate, oh, and by the way, the biggest, best system of all, motorization. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Motorized is acceptable because from an operating system, boom, it rolls up, goes down, the back of the shade complies with 2012 standards, etc. Motorization is far and away the best thing going. Not as inexpensive as our fashion wand, but quite nice. So given that, but the special exception is, for instance, a height restriction. If the individual is in a wheelchair and they have to have a cord, you can have that particular dispensation as long as it is a known fact that there is a benefit required for a cord. Otherwise, there has to be a restriction. Now, with cordless and short cord and inaccessible cord, no warning labels. You do not have to put warning labels on anymore after December 15th when you manufacture something. After December 15th.
That would make sense since we're in compliance.
In compliance.
Okay.
A single retractable cord or a continuous cord loop or the special situation still requires warning labels, and you can buy those from any distributor. They all know what they are. So let me just make sure you know. In summary, warning labels on all products with exposed cords. Not required on cordless or cord inaccessible. And not required on lift cords on Romans if they are compliant. That's the 40% drop. The new piece of news here that is a requirement, that is new, no warning label, but a manufacturing label. The manufacturing label it requires the following, and I don't know if we have on our website yet what these requirements are, but we do.
No, not yet, but I can get that on there this week.
Well, we'll have it on the Safety Shade website so you can see what the manufacturing label requirement is. But if you want to write these down, it's very simple. Your name, your city, your state. Also, the month and year you manufactured the product. Also, the letter C if it's custom. If it's not custom, it's stock, therefore the letter S. You're not going to do any stock product, no. Probably. And the C requires customer order detail, which is who, what, and when. Who ordered it, what did they order, and when did they order. This is for the CPSC to monitor if a child has a problem. What happened, how did it happen, and how do they monitor that? big news, December 15th, please comply. Please, please, please comply. If you have questions on anything I've just said, feel free to call us, but more importantly, ask anybody else for a second opinion on any of this. And other than that, have a fabulous holiday season.
Let's get some questions first.
Yes, please.
And we're probably running over a little bit, so you guys want to listen to the tune in for the questions or ask your questions. Let's do that now.
Please.
Thank you, Will. And while Veronica's pulling them up, and if we miss some of the questions, we will get back to you on them. And if you all have to, some of you have to go, thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you next time. And happy holidays for those who have to leave. But questions?
I actually only have one.
Okay.
It says, is that the designer that ordered or their client?
The designer is fine. The client is better to have in there, but it's who are you selling this to? If you're selling it to the designer, that's who ordered it. Okay. But you need to know who that is. The CPS, if there's an accident on the product, I should mention, if a product is not in compliance and it's found out that it was manufactured after December 15th, not in compliance, I'm very aware of a company actually in Texas that failed to comply with the 2012 standards. A child died from it. They were fined, I believe, $300,000. They were issued a total recall of all product they ever manufactured, ever, from the date of 2012 on, and when the rules came in. And then they were sued individually, the company, and it was within 2 months, 3 months, they were out of business.
Of course, yeah.
This was a large business.
Yeah.
Okay. Are corded shades with your cord locks okay?
Perfect, awesome, fabulous, wonderful.
The cord lock that has that 40%.
Right. What's that with cord? Well,
fashion one.
The cord lock is on the back. It's on the back of the shade, and you can still only go as big as an 8-inch fold. Okay.
Right.
But
is that what they're asking?
I think so.
But with the operator, that's the lift system.
Ring locks
Yeah.
are what they mean.
Ring lock.
Yeah, ring lock.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think that's what they mean.
probably.
Yeah.
But with the lift cords, it's cordless short cord, inaccessible cord, single retractable or continuous loop with a tension device.
But do we know if cord locks are still okay if they have the cleat?
Cord locks are fine. 40% of the total drop requires a cleat.
And they still need the shroud or ladder or
on the
ring
back,
locks
you
or
need ladder, shroud, or ring locks.
Okay. And I want to point out too, what's great about your system here, a lot of us like to pleat the pattern.
I know.
And we don't have to adhere to the 8 inches, so that's a great system.
You can do whatever.
You can do whatever
Yeah,
we want
which
to.
is awesome.
So yeah, that too. Any other questions?
Yes.
Come on in, Ken.
How is motorized compliant? You must use ring blocks.
Yes.
I know, but ring locks are still
motorized,
safe.
Motorized is just how do you lift, like on a tube, for instance, or if there are cords, it's ring locks. It's just a different way of getting it up there.
There's not an operating cord on, on the front or back, the beaded chain or anything, because if it's motorized, it goes up without, the motor's what lifts it.
Yeah.
So,
Right in the back, but yeah. Any other questions? Great questions, y'all.
That is it. Hello to everyone else that came in the middle. That's all the questions we have right now.
Okay, great.
well,
Thank you.
we have a Facebook page as well, Safety Shade Facebook page. If you are wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you just have a burning question on your mind, like I do all the time, get up and write me a question on our, just send me a message, a personal message on Facebook, on our Safety Shade Facebook page, and I will find the answer for you or answer it right away. I promise it won't. It might be 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm up usually 3 and 4. I don't know. I'm up walking around the house thinking about all kinds of stuff, So anyway, that's one option.
Okay. Well, thank you, Veronica, for filtering the questions for us over there, and not filtering them, but shouting them out and monitoring that. And thank you again for being here. We
Thanks for
really
having us.
appreciate it because
And again, thank you for dinner.
Oh my gosh, she made
Dinner
a
time. Oh, it's awesome.
huge spread. I'm like, girl, how are you doing? It's,
Taco Bell.
talk about it. But we enjoy all of you being here, and happy holidays, and we hope to see you all in the near future. And yes, again, I just want to remind everybody that I did put in there the links, all your links in another thread.
Okay,
Make
good.
it easy to find. So, okay, everyone, good night, and we'll see you
Happy
next
holidays.
time. Happy holidays.
Bye.
Thank you very much.